Welcome to Resilience+Rise, the podcast, where resilience is not just a concept, it's a lived experience. I'm your host, Thomas Carrier. I'm a resilience coach, an ultra marathoner, and a relentless believer in the human spirit's ability to rise. This podcast is a companion to my book, Resilience+Rise 26.2 Transformative Miles. Each episode in this podcast is raw, it's unfiltered. We dive into the stories of those who have faced life's hardest battles and they have emerged stronger. Today, I am excited to introduce our guest, Dr. Nicole Edwards.
Hello.
Hello, Nicole. Hello, Dr. Nicole. She is the face of the Woman of Hearts Award. She is an internationally acclaimed educator, leader, and an advocate for girls' education and development. She is recognized as a face of WOHA, that is Woman of Heart Awards 2024, and she has dedicated her career to shaping health and social care education with purpose, empathy, and excellence. Dr. Nicole has got, as I mentioned, a string of awards. And above that, she's also an official ambassador for becoming her program. She's a published author and serves as a school governor. Before I can go on, Dr. Nicole, welcome to Resilience+Rise, the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the fact that I'm on here. I'm grateful and honored. Thank you so much.
So, Dr. Nicole, in short, I would love to say, who are you? You have got so many credentials, but who's this person behind all these credentials and titles?
Funny you say that. I'm just a down to earth person. For the last year, things have just, blossomed and bloomed. I'm a quite a private person, quiet person. Often keep myself to myself. But things have happened last year where it's kind of made me come out of my comfort zone. I've done a lot of public networking events and attended events and kind of focused on developing me. Because then when I develop myself and I'm fully developed, I can help other people and serve other people. And then my passion is to really serve people, love people, show kindness and compassion in the world and help people to, recognize their higher self, who they are and how they can get there.
Okay, that was a very short and a quick answer. But more than that, when I look beyond the accolades
Mm,
or what you do to serve, there is a lot about your passion about uplifting women
mm,
and helping them with education and health, etc. Time and again in my podcast, I tend to rephrase Rumi, who says, Our deepest of purposes comes from our deepest of wounds, or the light shines brightest from our deepest of scars. So, how did you come across this purpose of being of service? Did it happen that you were in a space and you realized this could be helpful? Because I have gone through it, I've had the challenge, I've had the pain. So, let me make it easier for my fellow humans. So, what's your story, Dr. Nicole?
thank you. When I this reminds me because when I won the Face of Women of Heart was I had to speak about my experience and empower women, and what I spoke about was my journey from being quite nervous. I used to struggle with my nerves, and I never used to be able to speak in public without being nervous or shaking. And I was just just thinking about the time where I was in school, and I used to be to myself. I had a lot of challenges, not because, not academically per se, but my confidence. And that obviously pushed me, even though I was like the first person in my family, well, one of the first people in my family to go to university and obtain a degree, I was still quite nervous and shy. And I remember I had fantastic mentors who trained me in my teacher training because I'm also a teacher. And I remember stepping foot first into my classroom, and I was shaking with nerves. And I had this fantastic mentor who really developed my confidence, and my university tutor that really developed my confidence because it was overcoming that challenge of speaking. Because I used to be afraid of what would people think of me. How would I be a great teacher? How would I able to deliver this lesson without, stopping and standing in front of the class thinking what's next? So I had really good mentors, and from the time when I was younger, I've always had great female role models who've actually encouraged me and inspired me to, pursue my dreams. I had great teachers who really helped me and tried to develop my confidence, and I've had great mentors and mentorships, and the women that were in my life, from my mom to my aunties and all other women, to my academically and professionally, my tutors, my tutors and my mentors. They've actually believed in me and helped me to grow into this person I am now. And as someone who went to a girls' school, saw through the challenges of being a woman, and now I'm also a teacher working at a girls' school, I know how to give back, and I really want to be able to help young girls know who they are and able to overcome that challenge of being themselves. That's part of my journey.
Fantastic. So here the question which comes up is that to the audience that's listening to it, yes, there may be ladies or there may be people, even guys, who may be
Mm,
taken teaching as a profession or being of a service.
mm.
How did you create such a global impact?
Ah, good point. Um, It all started, I think, for me last year when I was invited to Dubai for Health Point Two, because I'm a health and social care teacher, and I was recognised for my impact that I have in relation to health education. And the publicity and the promotion, the PR with that kind of exposed me, pushed me out into other venues, other events, and then put myself out there on LinkedIn. So I use LinkedIn regularly, and I try and push my message about women empowerment, female empowerment, my work, and what I do, and how I can help others. And I think that's how it really sort of exploded in that sense. LinkedIn has been a really powerful networking site for me as someone who sometimes can be quite shy. And, when I first step into new situations, sometimes I can be a bit reserved. But I think LinkedIn is not so intimidating. You can use it to connect with different people across the world and then showcase what you have and what you do. And you'll be invited to events. And then from there, it started to really glow in terms of global events that I'm invited to, from France to Germany to Dubai, Japan, Hong Kong, America, all these different countries that I would have dreamed to when I was younger to go. I invite me to these events, and it's all because of that exposure on LinkedIn and putting myself out there as well.
Fantastic, that's powerful. See, again, I would challenge you on that because a lot of people, including me, I put out a lot of information on LinkedIn
Mm,
and even on other social medias. But for me to get that type of, it's not about recognition, but
mm,
reach out is
mm.
limited.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
Okay. So, what I don't say, my thought process over here is that there is something more. Okay, you talk about health for women, you talk about what is required.
Mm,
And I know from your articles you're quite passionate
mm,
about these events which is taking place. What else have you done? You mentioned that, okay, you had less of self confidence, but you had good mentors, good teachers, you had great role models. What else have you done to elevate yourself
okay.
to these
So
great heights?
I think the biggest one for me was winning the Face of Women of Heart Awards, which I won last November. I was crowned the winner, and I went through a process of speaking. Again, that's one of my biggest challenges is speaking in front of the public. And I think because Face of Women of Heart Awards is a global platform, it pushed me out even more. So when I won it in November, I had a lot of exposure from Dr. Desiree Richardson, who has really worked hard with me to kind of push my my brand and my image, and let me how I actually promote girls' education and women's empowerment through these events that we attend and we do. So we have a networking event called Face of Women of Heart Awards. We go gold and we go pink, where people across the world come together and network, and it's like a fashion brand as well. So that's put me out there as well. And from when I've got people asking me to be a part of magazines, features, and articles as well. So I've got that publicity there. And Women of Heart Awards, which I'm the face of the actual award ceremony. I was in Dubai in June. And it was a lovely experience to be like the first face of Women of Heart Awards. I'm not the first face of Women of Heart Awards, but I was the first face of Women of Heart Awards to crown our first face of Women of Heart Awards. So that was something, remarkable milestone that I was particularly proud of, and empowering women, not just from the UK and in Europe, but in the Middle East as well. So that's obviously exposure in that sense. But I've had really great exposure with the Women of Heart Awards, working with my girls currently in my current role, and also with women.
Beautiful, wonderful. So it comes exactly to the next particular question. Since you're being so involved with helping people, what comes up to your mind? I'm not asking about advice, but if I ask you for three or four suggestions for women or even young girls who want to succeed in their life, who want to grow in their life, because
Mm,
in today's world, it is a lot about media.
yeah.
It is a lot about how your filters are.
Mm,
It is how you're trying to show it to the other people, how
mm,
happy you are. But there is a lot of struggles,
there is.
a lot of pain. So, Dr. Nicole, if I ask you that, if there are four to five suggestions that comes to your mind
Mm,
that could help, whether it is the young or whether, in fact, there are people who even when they reach the prime of the age or even post that, they are still striving to get a little more confidence,
mm,
get a little more stronger
mm.
in their own self-worth. What would you have, what's your suggestions to them?
It's all a bit about being your authentic self. Now that's quite difficult because in a media saturated world, you have a lot of competing things with media, with peer pressure and things like that. But I always tell my girls, the girls I tutor and teach, about being authentic. You need to know yourself, you need to stand your ground and know your values. And don't let anybody tell you who you should be. And I always tell these girls, you need to know who you are, where you're going, and don't let anyone tell you who you should be. So I think it's being your authentic self, knowing your values, because values are very important to shaping how you live your life. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in a really faith-based household where we had strict values, not strict values, but values of love and compassion. My grandmother, my late grandmother,
Hmm.
was one of the the why I'm so love to give her service because of her. She was such a kind, loving woman.
Hmm.
And she taught me even though I lost her age 6 to another devastating incident, but um, the love that she installed in our family of service and compassion, I've always kind of believed that in my heart. And for when I was growing up and when I was in secondary school and moving all the way into my adult life, I always demonstrate kindness and compassion. No matter how people were to me, I've always had that kind of compassion and generosity to people. And I think that's really helped in relation to who I am now and who I represent and my values. So I always teach the girls about kindness and compassion and service. And even talking about that, when I was in secondary school and I was about 15 or 14, I used to get awards in school. So not just now in my adult life, I'm getting awards, but in school, I used to get a lot of awards for service to the community, service to the school, kindness and commitment, lifetime achievement awards. So, I've actually gotten awards from when I was younger. That's really because of my kindness, nothing else, nothing because I'm, you know, doing this and that, but because of the love that I had in my heart. And I wanted to show people that in relation to the service that I do for others and how I treat others as well. So that's really the basis of it. So having known your values and know who you are. Um, I would say resilience is key. Life is tough, it is, and you need to know how to bounce back after difficult situations. And knowing that this is just temporary, I know that I can overcome this mountain in front of me. So having that belief in resilience and courage, going after what you want, regardless of what is in front of you or who tells you anything. Having that courage to stand up and be bold and knowing who you are and not apologizing for who you are.
That's absolutely wonderful. Because again, when you talk about faith base, yes, we do talk about a lot of things, and specifically when we talk about the second most important commandment, that is love your neighbors, and
Mm,
that's what you have been doing, love
mm,
and kindness to your neighbors, but also it continues with as yourself.
mm,
And within your conversation, I realized that you first developed your own self.
mm.
You knew about your own stock and value. You knew about where you had kindness to your own self, and that's the reason you were able to give it to others also.
Yeah, exactly. And that was from when I was a young child. My own family, we're known for our kindness towards others. So that's really been a part of my values. And values are very important to how you live your life and how you
Hmm.
go about treating others. And regardless of how many titles, how many awards I have, if you take away the awards, I will still be kind. And that's the most important thing to me. Is kindness.
Wonderful. But here again, maybe I'm generalizing, but there's a lot of people who come from brokenness.
Mm,
There are a lot of people wherein they are alone. They are lonely, more than
mm,
alone, being lonely. They have forgotten what their values are,
yeah.
and especially whether when we are talking about the women folk, at times they feel that they have to be in the shadows of somebody else to tell them what
Mm,
needs to be done.
mm,
What would you tell to those people, like either they are broken or lonely, who have forgotten what the values are? They are looking, because for them the values comes from Instagram or
mm,
Snapchat or the old Facebook.
mm,
So it is not, it is, oh, if, let me see how can I be. It's basically more external than the internal.
mm.
How do you build up, when you talk this word in resilience, how do you build up, how do you make yourself stronger?
It's a good point. Well, there can be sort of many different ways. So it depends on your support system that you have. I think the people that they have around them is important. If you have a system, people around you are supportive and want to see you grow and want you to, be able to rise above the challenges. I think that is, a way to help people to find themselves. But the challenge is if they don't have that support system around, if they don't have people who are loving, who are, who loving, who want to do right by them, that can be a challenge. So they need to be able to find something or a group of people who may share similar values with them that can be able potentially to help them to push them up. Similarly with, for example, if you believe in God I do. Faith based, having that faith in, in God to be able to help you know yourself and develop yourself. And I've grown up, in relation to faith and knowing God, and that's really helped me as well. So it's about having people who are loving and knowing. But it doesn't have to be family. It could be friends. It could be someone you know in the workplace, whatever, who can kind of give you that, not necessarily romantic, but platonic love, and how they can help you transform your life, really.
That's important because, again, as I before our conversation, I was saying is that all of us, whether we know it or not, we are angels with one wing.
Yeah.
When we hold another, that's when we fly higher.
Mm,
And again, in this world of, there's still, the relationships are fleeting.
mm,
People have been betrayed. People have lost.
yeah.
And sometimes people, when you talk about, for a lot of people, especially when I'm having this podcast or as a coach, for them, having the concept of kindness and love is a very fleeting value.
Mm,
And again, the community by itself, because they are so involved with their day-to-day work,
mm,
either they are so busy they forget about their own productive selves. They
it's
have
true.
lost
Yeah.
themselves.
Mm,
And especially when you are an ambassador of becoming her, when people have lost that sense of anchorage,
mm.
what would you tell them?
I think I'll have a conversation about them to know their story. I think people have unique experiences. Not everyone has shares the same experiences, and I think it's
True.
important to know people's stories. So I would have a conversation about them, about their stories, and then I'll try to think about how I would enlighten to them and help them to see the bigger picture and to see that they are unique. They have so much potential and they can go far in very life. So it's about knowing people's stories, I think. People have gone through so much. People have different experiences. People have gone so much. Everyone has their own little battle that they deal with in their life. Not necessarily little, but it might be a battle that they deal with. Everyone goes through battles, and it's about knowing how to overcome those battles by speaking to people and understanding their story, developing empathy towards them, and showing them the light.
Absolutely. So, guys, I will be putting out Nicole's connections in my comments below over here. Do reach out, or do you reach out to the organizations that she's been involved with? You do not know from where help comes in, and that could be the light that you have been seeking. So, do reach out, do connect, and do see where that leads to. Towards, of course, being a little mindful of the time.
Mhm.
What are your new projects that you've been working on?
Great. As you know, I'm very, very passionate about girls' education. I think, that is one of my passions. For me, I went to a girls' school and I'm currently teaching the girls' school as well. So my projects are to kind of promote girls' equality and education across the world. So that's my priority. And next, I'm kind of moving into the modeling fashion industry at the moment, trying to with my modeling. So those are the projects I'm looking at currently. So my main focus is girls' education, promoting that across the world, um, and and fashion and empowerment.
Fashion and empowerment, that's interesting because a lot of people they look at fashion as just it is a very surreal, it's a plastic paradise type of a world.
Mm, mm. But if you
Okay,
look at it from a different perspective, it can be empowerment. How a part of fashion is your identity. How you look at yourself. The clothes you wear, how does it promote your identity? How does it empower you? So it can be like
interesting.
that.
Can you continue on it? That's a very interesting concept because you're getting in something which is very different. That is empowerment, fashion, and education also. So please do continue.
So I mean, I have a degree in sociology, so I'm looking at fashion in terms of how it can be used as a form of identity, and how it can use to empower someone's confidence. So the clothes you wear is a part of how you see yourself, and using clothes to kind of empowering others. And obviously, there's a lot of in the media. There's a lot of pressure about how you should look, what you should wear.
True.
Um, but if you use fashion the way to for yourself as a way to how you view yourself and how you want others to view you, can be a very powerful tool. A very powerful
Okay.
tool.
And what about those people who may not be able to get into the fashion or because I always say is that life is for living, not for existing. But
Of course.
a lot of times people just exist through life.
Yeah.
So how would you tell them that how to uplift themselves, not only internally but externally also? What's your and especially when you talk about fashion and the empowerment,
Mm.
what thoughts come to your mind that if they want to look better, what would you suggest them to do?
Well, looking better is also internal. So you need to view yourself as someone who is loving of themselves before we can look at that external. And that's what I mean by empowerment as well. Identity is not just about what you wear, but it's about how you view yourself internally, and how you can use those clothes to make you feel more empowered. Not just clothes, accessories, how you do your hair, makeup.
Hmm.
Anything that's a part of how you of your appearance. So I'm not looking in relation to just fashion clothes, but I'm looking in relation to empowerment internally, how that person views themselves, you know.
That's incredible. So, guys, thank you, Dr. Nicole. You just
Thank you
made it
so much.
this particular thing. So, guys, what you've just heard, you have heard a multi-award winning global leader. She's a role model. She's a Fortuna Global 100, one of the top 100 powerful leaders. She's an international achiever. She's an inspiring woman of the year. She has been awarded for that. She works very hard for health and social care. Yes, as she mentioned towards the end, she's also a model rising star and she's an ambassador. So, if this conversation has resonated with you in some way or the other, I would request you to do reach out to Dr. Nicole. She may not have the answer, or she may have the answer, but she could direct you to the people who could have better answers and help you to be the person that you want to be. So, Doctor, with this, I conclude today's session. Thank you so very much
Thank you
for your
so
space,
much.
space and time.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.